as
President
a
Tonzo
female
is
and as a
speaking
community
now.
activist is that as I'm fighting on one end for social justice for African Americans, I also have to fight social justice issues on behalf of my ancestors. So I would like to say that I'm standing here for all Native Americans to acknowledge the suffrage that we're going through as peaceful protesters, as we exercise our right to denounce the government and oil company takeover of our land. Water is life. If you have ever taken a science class, you know how much of your body makes water, so you know how vital it is. The Bible even says man cannot live on what?
Water. Bread alone.
Okay, bread alone.
Bread alone. That's right.
So if you know anything about health, you can eat, you can drink. Gallstones come from not enough water. So it is a vital part of our very existence. However, for centuries, all companies have continued to destroy sacred Native American sites and disturb graves where our ancestors are buried. The Dakota, excuse me, that's kind of a hard word to say. The Dakota pipeline experiments threaten Standing Rock's water. We've always been told to have peaceful protests, peaceful protests, peaceful protests. We shall overcome. This is 2016. How long
We are
does it
live
take
in
for
Columbus,
us to
Georgia,
overcome?
Muskogee County at the
These companies
Government
have also
Center
hired mercenaries with guns
across from
and
the
dogs.
Springer Opera
Hold
House.
on. Does that sound familiar?
Stand with Standing Rock. Water
Civil
is
rights
life.
era.
Dakota
To
Pipeline.
attack peaceful protesters. This country does not respect Native Americans or any person of color when it comes to the right of taking up for ourselves. It may not be you today, but I guarantee you, if someone wanted to come
You are
in and
now
take your
listening
stuff
to
tomorrow,
Madam President
you would be just as
Tonzo
upset,
Thomas
irate,
of
you
Columbus,
will
Georgia,
protest,
NAACP.
sometimes you will burn
She
down.
is also the
Some things
Georgia
that mean
State
something
NAACP
to others,
Secretary.
just to make a point and bring attention to your own. The people who are out there protesting, along with the folk in Standing Rock, are only trying to bring awareness to what is going on. Again, it may not be happening to you today, but we have issues in our own community that will affect you tomorrow, i.e. thaw the freeze, i.e. keep the freeze. I'll let you marinate on that. I'll come back to you about that in a minute. Standing against injustices and in peaceful protests is something that we do. But at some point we must stop and go to our legislature, because it's because of the laws that are on the books that will protect the laws of the land. If you don't think that that is correct, ask me. I'm an African American woman. I have not always been able to vote. I'm 42, so I have in my lifetime. But I'm speaking on behalf of other African American women who not long ago did not have the right to vote. And on behalf of women that didn't always have the right to vote. On behalf of African Americans who have always not been able to be a full-blooded American. And we were livestock. My mother just celebrated her 63rd birthday, and she doesn't have a birth certificate. And I asked her why. This is America. This is Georgia. Well, my mother was born not in a hospital, but to a midwife. Before the midwife had an opportunity to put my mother's names on the book, she passed away. So out of the 14 brothers and sisters out there that my grandparents had, and they were all raised in the same house, there was only one that does not have an identity, and that is my mother. So don't let our government, an oil company, or anyone else take away your identity. This land is my land. This land is your land. From the New York Island, from California to the New York Island. That's what they tell us. That's the song that they sing. Well, if this is our land, why we cannot protect our land? We go to war in other countries. The war is coming to America because we are the greatest country in the world, but they're taking us out. on the streets, and which, Michael, you said this a moment ago. CNN, MSNBC, they don't have Standing Rock on live media every day because it's not sensationalized. It's not enough to get you mad. It's not enough to get you fighting about what is yours. But if they put a black man on the TV, unarmed, that done been shot by the police, they will put that on the TV because they know that we are mad enough to be mad as hell and to go to the government. So if we are just as mad when an unarmed black man, or an armed black man for that matter, is shot by the police or shot by someone in their own community, death is death and wrong is wrong. If we don't do something about this water, we might as well all just turn over and die. Doctors have said for years, bottled water is okay, but it will never replace the water that runs so freely. The water that God gave us. I know some of y'all are Christian. If you do not know God, as my mother says over here, our Creator, He put that water here for us. And if we don't fight for water like we fight for people, we are all going to die. Thank you so very much. And again, please stand with us with Standing Rock, because water is so precious. Once it's gone, that's it. Thank you.
That's right. Like I stated before, that is Madam President Tanza, and we are here at the Government Center, live across from the Springer Opera House. We've been here probably about 45 minutes now, and we do appreciate everyone that is tuning in. I see you, Bora, way in Germany, I'm tuning in, and Teresa Elamine, how you doing, my sister? Also Sandra, how you doing? How you doing, my sister? Love you, girl. You know it.
Water is life.
Water is life.
I'm going to bring up my next
We have one more speaker, and hopefully, if my battery has life, I will be able to go ahead and record that. We have another speaker that is from the Splint River. Oh, here we go. We got Sister Tanza right here. No, Sister Teresa coming right here. Teresa Elamine. How are you doing, sister?
You just see me saying I can't try. I was trying to find a place.
How you doing, sister? Been a long time, and you are standing here in the gap as well with Sarnes, and I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, but let me see how I look.
We live. Okay, I'm gonna flip the camera.
I'm humbled to be able to work for a group of people that cares about a particular river in God's creation. And I don't care what
Let's
your
talk about the Flint
cosmology is,
River.
like what you were saying. I don't care if you worship nature or you worship the Creator as I do, and you feel compelled to take care of nature. Doesn't matter to me. It's a physical fact and it's a chemical fact that without clean flowing water, you can't even have bottled water. I mean, it's got to come from somewhere. And we have, when I was born, there were about 2.8 million people in Georgia, less than 1 million in Atlanta. Now, depending on where you draw the circle, there's about 6.5 million people in Atlanta and about 10.5 million people in Georgia. And there's not any more water. In fact, there's less because of what's happened with climate change and what's happened with the way we use the water. So these are incredibly important issues in the Dakotas, in California, New England, Georgia, Florida, and the rest of the world. I could go on and on about the water supply issue. But I'm happy tonight to be in Columbus, Georgia, which to me is a shining example of government and private property owners working together to rejuvenate a piece of property and bring people downtown of all incomes, all races, all parts of the world to be able to have a good time and make money. I was stunned 3 years ago when I came back to downtown Columbus and saw what I saw. I hadn't been here since the mid-1970s, and man, what a change. And that form of cooperation is very different than what we see with the pipeline companies, and I'll come back to that. The issue of pipelines is something that I need to do a mea culpa on that. My sister, riverkeeper, Ms. Maya Van Rossum up in Delaware, told us at a riverkeeper meeting about 8 years ago what the dangers of the pipeline companies were. For me, it kind of went in one ear and out the other. I thought this was a riverkeeper that was off working on energy issues when she ought to be working on water issues, and I just sort of didn't get it. Well, now I get it. And let me tell you why I do. The Sable Trail natural gas pipeline, which is owned by the same company that's developing the Dakota Access pipeline, it's not a maybe that it's going to happen. They're building it right now. They're in the middle of building it. We've lost that battle. We fought it for 3 years. We used every legal maneuver that we could, every political maneuver that we could. And let me tell you a few key points in that battle so that we can give you an action item so you can not only stand with Standing Rock, but stand with everybody in America when it comes to the next pipeline as well as this one. The FERC process, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, is completely broken. You know, the U.S. Constitution guarantees us due process. And due process is typically codified in a set of administrative procedures when it comes to environmental permits or local zoning. There has to be a process that you go through so that private property rights and human rights are protected. Well, the FERC process is completely corrupt. Back in the 1940s, when we were
Hi everyone, we are here at the Government Center in Columbus, Georgia. Stand with the Standing Rock. We are located next to the Springer Opera House, as you can see. Hey, how you doing, Frederick? Hey, Shabbat. Thanks for joining us. My battery is dying right now, so I probably won't be able to completely video the whole speech. But we are here with Stand with Standing Rock in opposition to the Dakota Access Pipeline, okay? We are fighting for the Sioux. So if you think that water doesn't matter to you and that water is not life, water is life, man. We use water every single day. And what they're doing is drilling through to honor graveyard burial sites. They're like coming in like militia, killing people, pregnant women. We've seen this before. Just a lot of cruel, evil deeds. And like I had stated before, don't allow this upcoming election to distract you. A lot of news, you need to dig for it. If you hear something about it, we know we have the World Wide Web of information. It's right at our fingertips. If you don't believe it, look it up and research it yourself. We're in a time of technology where being naive is just not an excuse. So, as the speaker continues to give us a message, just stay encouraged, stay studied up, and definitely do your research. This is the first meeting. There will be another one. Mr. Smith did state that he will be having another meeting. So come out and support. Water is life. We all drink water, and all of us got a little activism in ourselves. So you should be being activists about water, and about injustices and civil rights and human rights. So come out and support. I love y'all for watching. How you doing, Carlos? What's going on? What's going on? I see a few people that are still tuned in. I don't know if you can hear me or not. I'm not trying to talk too loud, but it's getting late. We're still talking out here, and I'm going to flip the camera. And so if you are still here, I thank you. Appreciate you. This is Wandra, and I'm going to flip the camera, okay? Thanks for tuning in. Hey, how you doing, Felicia? Love y'all.
I'm telling you all of this sort of grimy, oily detail because you need to understand that there is an unholy alliance between certain aspects of our government and private corporations. This is a message that sells to Tea Partiers way out on the right wing, as well as environmental activists way out on the left wing, and everybody in the middle. If you are a property owner, if you pay taxes, your land is in danger, as well as your water. And there's a place for eminent domain in our society when we need a water line run somewhere, when we need a road widened because the population has grown. There are many legitimate reasons to use eminent domain, which is why we have it in our laws. But to give that power to a private corporation simply to make money is an illegitimate use of eminent domain. I've taught my kids a lot about Native Americans. I don't claim to know everything there is to know, but I know a pretty good bit, and I've taught them what I know. And one of the things I've taught them is that the Sioux Nation in particular is one of the most heroic of our First Nation tribes. They have refused to take payment for their holy land in the Black Hills. They have stood tall at Standing Rock, and there are many other incidents in their history where they have shown the kind of character and backbone that I want for myself, that I want my kids to have, that I want my grandkids to have when they come along. They're a noble, heroic people. They deserve to have our support. They probably had the land ethic right. These people lived in the Great Plains in a way that was a relatively light touch on the land. There's no such thing as having humans on the land and having no touch. That's